That'd be dumb. But okay, let's bring on Dane Andreeff, President and CEO. There he is of Helius Medical. Dane, you want to stretch? You got the blood going?
I do have the blood going, and we'll increase the blood oxygen and blood flow to your brain. So with this presentation. So
nice. All right, I'm gonna step out here and let you do your thing.
And can you hear me perfectly fine and see me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone, and welcome to Helius Medical Technologies presentation. We are a leading neurotech company. We have very disruptive technology for healthcare, as you will see. We'll go through our legal disclaimers, but we're short on time. So basically, we are the first and only patented treatment, and we use a portable neuromodulation stimulator device, otherwise known as the PONS device. And what we're doing is stimulating your tongue through your trigeminal nerve in combination with physical therapy to reduce neurological disease or trauma. So the best way to look at it is right across the central nervous system indication platform. One of the most common symptoms for patients is balance and gait dysfunction, whether it's MS, Parkinson's, stroke, cerebral palsy, or traumatic brain injury. A very common symptom right across the board is balance and gait dysfunction. So we have 3 American flags there. We're very proud of our first flag. We got our first FDA authorized clearance for our device and therapy in mild to moderate symptoms of multiple sclerosis. We'll talk more about our commercialization plans in a moment. We did receive a FDA Breakthrough Designation for MS back in May of last year. That was our first designation. And as of last month, we garnered our second FDA Breakthrough Designation for the treatment of dynamic gait and balance deficits following a stroke. And for us to get this is just a massive accomplishment for our team, our technology, and all the stakeholders. And then lastly, we've been commercializing in Canada in 2 indications. One for mild to moderate traumatic brain injury for chronic balance deficit, and 2, MS as well. We received that right at the start of COVID last year. We are commercializing in 33 neuro-PT clinics as we speak in Canada. So the FDA Breakthrough Designation, again, I mentioned our first one was in MS 14 months ago in May of 2020 for high unmet needs, and we received our FDA marketing clearance and authorization by the FDA in late March of this year. So this is a huge win for Helius Medical. And then second, we received our second breakthrough designation for the treatment of dynamic gait and balance deficits following a stroke. And why is this important? Well, there's over 400 companies that have a breakthrough designation, but there's only 5.6% of them that have a clearance. And Helius Medical is one of those 5.6. But second, there's less than 1% of the companies out there that have 2 breakthrough designations. So that pretty much puts us in the healthcare medical device Hall of Fame. To go forward, we are going to need a pivotal trial, which we're already planning for, and we'll talk about when that happens and when we expect an FDA authorization in our second label for the United States. We are truly a platform technology. If you look at it, MS with our first FDA clearance, there's 1 million people suffering from MS, but there's 7 million people suffering from stroke. And then lastly, I'm just going to focus on a potential label expansion into traumatic brain injury. We're looking at potentially our government to fund us, whether it's the DOD, Army, VA. That is a distinct possibility in traumatic brain injury. There's other indications. We have great data in cerebral palsy. We are looking for a future study. It would be a milestone study in Parkinson's disease. If you look at how we're going to create shareholder value over the next 2 to 6 to 12 months, it's inherent in what we're doing. first and foremost, we did close on an $11 million public offering through Ladenburg in the first quarter of this year. We maintained our ISO certification and GMET through our GMET audit. It's very important. We enhanced our and expanded our senior leadership team in the second quarter, and we're already achieved 85% of our state licenses for our MS launch, which will happen in first quarter of next year, 22. What are we doing in the third quarter? Well, we did get our second breakthrough designation in stroke. We have launched clinical adoption studies in Canada. It's 30% cheaper to do that, to expand mind share and increase our data input for KOLs. So we did launch a couple of trials that are adoption trials. In the fourth quarter, which we're entering here in the next day or two, we will initiate our inventory build for our commercial launch. We use Keytronics to make our device. And then we are already starting our initial outreach into KOLs and strategic partners. And again, first quarter, we're going to launch our MS commercial strategy. We're going to deploy our reimbursement opportunities and going into the second quarter into private, commercial, and government payers. We'll submit those. And in the second quarter, we'll initiate our pivotal trial in stroke, which is very exciting for this team. And we look forward to a first half 2024 FDA clearance. So what is the PoNS treatment and what are we doing? Well, I have the device right here, the portable neuromodulation stimulator. It comes in a nice Apple Steve Jobs sleek case. If you open it up, and hopefully you can see all this, I'm going to open it up right now. And the PoNS device is a smart device that goes around your neck very easily. And the mouthpiece attaches to the device and it goes in your mouthpiece, in your mouth on top of your tongue. So what are we doing? We are stimulating one of the 12 cranial nerves through your tongue. It goes on top of your tongue, like so. There's 143 gold-plated electrodes on our neurostimulation device, and we are stimulating the trigeminal nerve, which is one of your 12 cranial nerves in your skull. And it is the nerve that has the most contact points and area points in and around the brain. This is a non-implantable device. There's no surgery. And basically in a 20-minute session, you have 25 million impulses going through your neural network, affecting your brain. And we'll show you what we're doing. We're actually increasing blood oxygen and blood flow. We're gently sending signals through that nerve and impacting a reaction in the brain. For example, if I take my tongue right now and just touch my tongue, that is sending a signal through your brain that I'm taking my right finger and touching my tongue lightly. Now, if I took something sharp and actually cut my tongue and blood flow, what signal would that be sending to the brain? Well, painful signal. You could probably taste blood, but it is going right through your neural network, through the tongue to the brain for a reaction. And again, what we're treating is balance and gait dysfunction. So here's a young lady, and she's got the device, the smart device around her neck. She's on a treadmill working on her gait deficit, and basically the mouthpiece is stimulating the tongue surface, sending signals to the brain through the neural network. And what we're doing is basically sending those signals and really getting a reaction through the trigeminal nerve in combination with physical and cognitive rehabilitation. So if you look at our treatment, it's a 14-week treatment where your first 2 weeks are done in a neuro PT setting. It's 20 minutes a day, twice a day in combination with physical therapy. And then your last 12 weeks, you take your device home and finish your therapy at home. So this is a big event for us. This was the FDA Breakthrough Designation that we received on August of 17th of this year. Again, it's for treatment of dynamic gait and balance deficit due to symptoms from stroke. So if you look at the chronic stroke market and indication, there's 7 million patients that are living with stroke, and over 80% of them have gait impairment. That's an important point here because most of those folks are already doing rehab or in neuro rehab centers and clinics from their neurologists. And frankly, if you break down the stroke market even further, there's 800,000 new strokes a year, and over 80% of them go right into rehab because of gait deficit issues. So let's switch back to our US FDA clearance, which is for symptoms, gait deficit symptoms for MS. Again, the market is highlighted, it's well characterized. Everyone knows someone, unfortunately, with MS. There's more females than males that have MS. It's a growing diagnosed population, unfortunately. The MS patients are treated through their neurologists and really MS experts. Gait dysfunction is a very common symptom experienced by MS patients. And MS patients are very well connected to the MS Society and are very active on social media. And then finally, they are actively seeking new and promising treatments. And that bodes well for Helius Medical and the PONS therapy. There's 1 million patients that, and unfortunately increasing, that are affected by MS. 41% have the gait deficit issue. So there is a large population for Helius Medical to go after and start helping these patients with their gait deficit. If you look at our first study, our first clinical study, this is really all you really need to see in the clinical data. But this was the Tyler study out of the University of Wisconsin at Madison. This technology was co-invented at UW-Madison over 20 years ago by a man named Paul Baccarita. But this study, if you look at the two lines, the first line is our active PONS device plus physical therapy versus a pure placebo, non-stimulating device. So these patients got no stimulation whatsoever. Remember, if there's no stimulation, there's no effect to the neural network to the brain. So basically, they were just getting physical therapy alone, rehab. So look what happened. Let's look at the red line, number 2, of the pure placebo based off the DGI. And the dynamic gait index is 0 to 24, and it has 6 groups of 4 variables each. So if these groups started at 10, and anything from 18 and over is considered normal gait. So if you look at just the pure placebo effect of the 14-week treatment, you had some benefit of rehab. And this is clear in most literature for rehab and physical therapy. But unfortunately, it peaks by week 6, week 10, and starts regressing. So again, the quality of life is not there. Now, let's look at the blue line. The active PONS, our device, it increases faster, quicker, and maintains its efficacy. And if you're going from 10 to 18, you're basically back to a normal gait. And that's so important for quality of life for MS patients. Our second clinical trial was done at the Neurological Institute in Montreal. These are before and after functional MRI snapshots of bold imaging of your left, your right, and your rear area of your brain. And again, we used an active arm, which is an active PONS device plus physical therapy versus a non-stimulated, a pure placebo plus PT. So basically, Group B is just PT alone. And look what happens in Group A. There is significant activity from before and after functional MRI bold imaging. And what are we studying here? An increase of blood oxygen and therefore blood flow to the brain. And clearly, we proved that out. The great thing about our Canadian commercialization operations is part of our clinical and regulatory strategy. We use 42 real-world patients that were treated in 2019 and 58% of them showed at least a 4-point improvement in their functional gait assessment. And we were allowed to use real-world evidence in our FDA de novo application. So along with the 2 former clinical data, we used 42 real-world patients, and using commercial patients provides valuable insights and potential to publish. And these Canadians, not just in MS, but also in TBI, took their stories to the media. Now let's look at the current strategies for managing neurological disorders in this nation, in this world. There's prescription drugs. Of course, there's massive amounts of physical therapy, surgery, and then there's us in the medical device world. If you look at what we're doing and before we launch in our activities, we are going to be sponsoring an open label clinical study. We call it the TEP program, a therapeutic experience program. And we're going to be leveraging MS experts, their institutions, to provide additional information in the US before we go out and commercialize. We're going to have 10 to 12 sites with 50 to 60 subjects with gait deficit due to mild and moderate MS at these centers of excellence. And we're going to leverage our MS Scientific Advisory Board along with our Medical Advisory Board. And we're looking to start enrolling in the 4th quarter of this year and continue through the 2nd quarter of next year. This will be helpful also with our reimbursement strategy, our reimbursement dossier, and including our clinical adoption studies that we have been started in Canada. So if you look at our pre-commercial activities, includes licenses, territory identification, and KOL engagement. On the last quarter, we also talked about not only the 41% that have gait impairment of the 1 million MS patients, but we broke it down further that we looked at the DRG codes, which are gait deficit codes in MS that are at rehab. And there's 131,000 MS patients that are basically the low-hanging fruit for Helius Medical. And basically, we are going to be going after those 131,000 patients initially in our 1st quarter launch. We believe we'll be at a cash pay for these customers like Canada. We have lots of experience on cash pay, but we believe by the end of next year, 2022 into 2023, we'll have reimbursement, both commercial and government reimbursement programs. So if you look at our balance sheet at the end of the 2nd quarter, June, we had $7.4 million in cash. Basically, right now we have warrants that are priced at $16.30 of almost $9.3 million if those warrants would be exercised. We also have a $15 million line of credit that we just instituted in September as one of our tools in our toolkit. We are looking for additional optionality on financing, of course, going into our commercialization launch in the 1st quarter. If you look at our ownership, Columbus Capital has been a great investor for us. Maple Leaf Partners is my family funds. You'll see that I own over 9% of the company. I just recently bought over 30,000 shares in a tight window in middle of September. High Capital is a new investor for us, and AMB, which is out of Hong Kong, is actually China Medical, the largest medical device company in China. We do have a partnership with them. If you look at my background, I spent 20 years running a large hedge fund value base. I was one of the managers for Julian Robertson at Tiger. Again, I own over 9%. Jeff Mathieson just joined us 3 months ago as well. He used to be our audit chair, but prior to that, he was a very successful CFO for Gemfire Therapeutics and Sunshine Heart. Dr. Antonella Favet Van Pelt, who brought in almost just over 2 months ago, is a board certified neurologist. She's launched many times into the U.S. market, and I give her credit for initiating the innovative therapeutic experience program that we are starting. Fred Fantasia comes from LivaNova. He was formerly their VP of North American Sales and Marketing. He takes on that same job. Just FYI, LivaNova was a implantable neurostimulation device for epilepsy. Our board is fantastic, starting with Blaine Walter. Blaine is in Columbus, Ohio. He's one of the co-founders of Inventive Health. Sherry Perkins, another excellent hire for us, brings operational commercial experience after over 20 plus years, again at LivaNova. Ed Strauss, a 3-star admiral, retired with a ton of great manufacturing and logistics expertise. Mitch Tyler is one of our co-founders from the University of Wisconsin. And just recently we announced Paul Buckman, president of North American LivaNova, just joined us as well. Again, this is a snapshot of our MS advisory board: Cleveland Clinic, Shepherd Center, Craig. We get an extensive IP portfolio out to 2040. And we're just so excited to be here and really present the opportunity to all of you to take a look at Helius Medical, not only in gait deficit and our commercialization, but also look out for us in our pivotal trial for balancing gait deficits due to stroke.
Great, Dane. We're up against time. Oh, look at that. Dane Andreeff, everyone. Thank you, Dane. He's the CEO of Helius Medical. Thank you so much today for coming to the Benzinga Small Cap Healthcare Conference.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right.